There's a street here in Bangkok filled with Korean beauty stores, food shops, nail and hair salons, and even a K-food section in the supermarket. Seems that people here are really into Korea. Hi guys, this is Sean and Jin. Say hi, Jin.
Hello.
We are a bit different Korean couple. Why? Check out our previous video linked above to find out. As you saw in the intro, we noticed a huge interest in Korean culture during our stay here in Bangkok. Among these interests, Korean dramas are particularly trendy, so today we decided to put something together for you. It's very hot here in Bangkok today, so Jin is making hwachae, a traditional Korean watermelon fruit punch, which is a popular summer dessert. Wow, check out the watermelon. Looks yummy. While Jin prepares it, I'll give you the insider scoop on whether the situation in Korean dramas are realistic. Number 1, Korean parents controlling marriage choices, no freedom in love. Jin, what do you think? How was it for us?
저희는 부모님의 의견보다 서로를 믿고 결혼했어요.
Yeah, we chose love with conviction, but in dramas, you often see couples who break up because of their parents' opposition. This actually reflects a real aspect of Korean culture. In Korea, marriage isn't just between two adults, but also between two families. Because of this, parents often have a big influence. They may not force you to marry someone, but it's hard to go through with a marriage if your parents are against it. Sometimes this causes conflicts between parents and children. There was even a case where the daughter of a global Korean conglomerate took her own life due to extreme stress after her parents opposed her dating an ordinary guy she loved. I think there are two main reasons for this strong parent and child tie in the marriage scene in Korea. First, in Korea, it's expected that the man will provide a house when getting married. This doesn't mean renting, but actually buying a house or at least securing a jeonse house. Jeonse is a unique Korean system where you pay a large deposit, somewhere between 50 to 80% of the house value, and live rent-free for usually 2 years. If a man is in his early 30s, he often can't afford such an expensive house with just a few years of savings. So parents step in to help financially. It's not just the man, the woman's parents often help with the wedding cost too. So parents naturally get involved in the marriage process. I think the second reason is more emotional. Wow, okay. Process, wow. She scooped up all these watermelon. So many Korean parents dedicate their entire lives to raising their children. Even if they're poor, they'll take on that to send their kids to private academies and universities. With parents investing their lives in their children, it's natural for them to have expectations. Children grew up knowing this, making it hard to ignore their parents' opinions on such an important life decision like marriage. Number 2, how realistic are the love stories in Korean dramas? Jin, what's your favorite Korean drama?
천국의 계단이라고 예전에 한국에서 빅히트 했던 드라마예요.
Why do you like the drama?
거기 나오는 남자 주인공이 아마 당시 모든 대한민국 여자들의 이상형이었을걸요? 거기 나오는 남자 주인공이 잘생겼는데 재벌인데 여자가 죽을 병에 걸린 거 알면서도 부모의 반대를 무릅쓰고 결혼까지 했어요.
Haha, that's funny. That drama definitely has all the typical love story elements I'm about to talk about. Korean dramas often have these classic cliches. Handsome, rich guy falls for a poor girl, or there's a tragic figure in a love triangle, or the female lead has a terminal illness like cancer, etc. To be honest, these are pretty exaggerated in dramas. While theoretically possible, it's pretty rare in Korean society for people with completely different social and economic backgrounds to get married. This ties back to what I mentioned earlier about parental involvement in marriage. The love triangles are similar. In Korea, once you're in a relationship, it's considered sort of an etiquette for others not to cross that line. While someone might have a secret crush, the kind of overt love competition seen in dramas is actually far from reality. Also, Korea has an advanced healthcare system with mandatory regular checkups. So the idea of a young person having a terminal illness is quite exaggerated. Number 3, is dating an older woman considered weird? To answer this question first, it's not weird, but it's definitely uncommon. Let's unpack why that is. Jin, do you know any couples where the woman is older?
있긴 한데 잘 없어요.
Yeah, same here. I hardly know any. In Korea, age is a big deal because of the cultural emphasis on respecting elders. Korea is also a collectivist society. People tend to feel uncomfortable making choices that stand out from the norm. That's why for men, it's sort of considered less appealing to date or marry an older woman when most of their peers are with younger women. How is Hwachae coming along? Another interesting phenomenon is that being younger can be seen as an advantage in the dating and marriage scene here in Korea. If an older woman dates a younger man, she's often seen as impressive. Similarly, if man dates a significantly younger woman, he's often regarded as quite accomplished. However, Korea is gradually becoming more westernized. These age stereotypes are starting to fade. Love should be more important than age, right? Okay, number 4. Do Koreans make their relationship official when they start dating? Jin, can you explain why Korean women tend to define the relationship clearly when they start dating?
한국에서는 그 사귀자는 말이 연인 관계의 첫 시작이라고 생각해요. 만약에 사귀자는 말 없이 데이트를 한다거나 스킨십을 하면 한국 여자들은 아마 본인을 갖고 논다고 그렇게 생각할 수 있어요. 그러니까 사귀자는 멘트, 우리는 연인관계라는 그런 선언 이후에만 다음 뭔가 프로세스로 나아갈 수 있는 거죠. 하지만 한국도 이제는 점점 연애 스타일이 개방적으로 바뀌고 있어서 모든 커플이 그렇다는 건 아니에요.
Okay, let me add my perspective as a guy while considering the context of Korean society. In Korea, many people actually live with their parents until they get married, even as adults. This can mean having a curfew, so Korean women might approach dating more conservatively, often thinking about marriage in long term. Also, age plays a significant role in dating and marriage in Korea. Women might be cautious about dating because they worry that having several failed relationships in their 20s could mean missing their ideal time to get married. Okay, going back to Hwachae, as you can see, Jin scooped up the half of the watermelon and chopped all the watermelon and put the pieces back into this empty half. And she's also adding bananas and kiwis.
이거는 기호에 따라서 선택하면 돼요.
So the watermelon is a key element here, obviously, and feel free to add additional fruits like bananas, kiwis, oranges, whichever you like. Number 5, are Korean guys really as sweet as they are in dramas? Jin, what do you think? What about me?
솔직하게요?
Be honest, yes, of course. We're an honest couple.
션은 다정하지만 스윗한 건 아니에요.
What does it even mean? What's the difference between 다정 and sweet?
He's kind but not sweet.
Can you elaborate?
일단 션은 항상 큰 소리를 내는 법 없이 굉장히 침착하고 또 온화해요. 네. 그렇지만 남자들의 그런 젠틀한 매너 아니면 막 달콤한 사랑 고백 그런 말 이런 거는 없어요. 그리고 이제 션 말고 평균적인 남자들의 스윗함을 생각해 본다면 되게 사람마다 달라요. 우리 아빠 세대들에 비해서는 훨씬 더 남자들이 다정하고 스윗하고 가정적이고.
Okay. Appreciate Jin's honest opinion. Wow, Jin has such high standards. Okay.
high standard.
Here's my take. When you watch Korean dramas, you see male leads doing things that guys in your country might not. Even everyday Korean men do these things naturally, as shown in this video. That's why Korean men have this sweet image. When you come to Korea, actually, you'll see regular guys doing sweet things you might not imagine in the Western world. For example, carrying their girlfriend's bag, or frequently calling or texting to check on them, and so on. So by global standards, the perception that Korean men are sweet is true, at least from my view. Compared to their global peers, Korean guys do have a sweet side. But is it because Korean men have different DNA or because their parents taught them to be this way? I think Korean men are somewhat conditioned to act sweetly towards Korean women. If they aren't, they might struggle to date or get married. Unless they look like Brad Pitt. Looks like it's almost ready. Whoa.
이거는 수박 국물 쓰면 좋아요.
Yeah.
플루베 해주세요.
That's watermelon squeeze. Sprite to add sweet flavor. Oh, we're talking about the sweet Korean guys and sweet Sprite.
이게 무슨 우유를 넣고 하는 게 유행했던데 사실 한국의 전통 스타일은 우유 같은 거 안 넣고 이렇게 사이다 넣는 거예요.
Yes. This Korean style fruit punch got popular, got viral in TikTok and other social media platforms. But from Korean's perspective, it's much better not to put in milk. Wow. Wow.
네.
Wow. Red, yellow, green. Oh, looks tasty. Okay, number 6. Do Korean couples actually keep in touch with each other all day long, all the time? Yes, in Korea, it's pretty normal for couples to be in constant communication. They're used to texting several times a day and often talking on the phone before going to bed.
어때요?
Very fresh, sweet. Perfect food for the hot, scorching summer. Okay. This habit can sometimes lead to arguments if one person feels the other isn't keeping in touch enough. What do you think, Jin?
맞아요. 한국 여성들은 사귀는 사이면 서로 모든 일상을 공유하는 것이 당연하다고 생각해요. 그렇지 않으면 사실 친구랑 크게 다를 게 없다고 생각하거든요. 저랑 샴피의 예시를 한번 들어드릴게요. 저는 션을 만나기 전까지는 항상 상대와 메신저나 통화로 항상 일상을 공유했어요. 아침에 굿모닝 인사, 그 다음에 일과 중에 막 시시콜콜한 일들을 다 공유했고 저녁에는 굿나잇 인사까지 하고 잠들죠. 아마 대부분의 한국 커플들이 근데 그럴걸요? 하지만 션은 그러지 않았어요. 아침에 굿모닝 인사 후에 출근 중에 하루 잘 보내 하고 하루 종일 연락이 없었어요.
So for me, while spending time with my loved one is very important, I thought it was better to focus on work during work hours and then spend quality time together after work.
네, 맞아요. 저도 처음엔 굉장히 어색하고 이상하게 느껴졌지만 차츰 이 연락 방식이 익숙해졌어요. 그리고 더 좋다고 느꼈어요.
So from an outsider's perspective, this behavior of Korean women might seem emotionally demanding. So why do Korean women have this expectation? Jin, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think there are a few reasons. First, Korean women are very expressive and in touch with their emotions. Number 2, independence and individualism aren't as emphasized here as interdependence and collectivism. This also explains why Koreans often use we instead of I when speaking. Number 3, these traits combined with the social environment are amplified by the media. About 20 years ago, when mobile phones became widespread, telecom companies introduced special billing plans for couples, offering unlimited minutes for calls to each other. Very clever, right? They promoted this in the media, linking it with romantic love. Funny, right? Korean dramas also picked this up and romanticized these communication styles. 네.
와우, 샨. Very well said. 왜냐면 우리 부모 세대는 그렇지 않았는데 저희 세대, MZ 세대부터 이런 현상이 나타나니까 맞는 해석 같아요.
So hey everyone, today we talked about some typical scenarios in Korean dramas, especially related to dating and marriage. But keep in mind, these are our personal opinions and don't represent all of Korea. If you have any specific questions you're really curious about, leave a comment below. If we get enough likes, subscribes, and comments, we'll make a part 2 based on your further questions. Bye and see you soon.